Please welcome Microsoft Corporate Vice President, Azure Compute, Corey Sanders.
Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Wow, this is awesome. Who loves infrastructure? That's right, because if you don't, you're in the wrong room. So, my name is Corey Sanders, and I am the Corporate Vice President responsible for compute in the Azure team. Before I get started, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of my really pretty impressive accomplishments. And I've had many. Lasagna, bread pudding, some other dishes that don't actually look that good. This is what I've been working on for the last couple months. So I've had a little bit of time off, and I spent a lot of time cooking. But the best part about this is I've really been working on a new AI model, an IoT edge, that will allow me to taste this food without having to actually eat it, which is really good, especially when I'm cooking. And what that means now is that I am now one of the 95% no, my food's not in the Fortune 500, but this is an amazing list. You saw this morning, an amazing list of Fortune 500 companies that are building, 95% of them are building on top of Azure. And some really exciting examples here, starting with Adobe. Adobe running a vast application portfolio on Azure, using a vast set of services on the platform. Whether they're running their Adobe Experience Cloud, which is a set of marketing and analytics tools, or running the Adobe Marketing Cloud using Azure Analytics for end-to-end digital marketing. They're using a bunch of our tools, including a lot of our open source offerings. They're one of the largest customers for Postgres, but they're also using VMs, containers, Key Vault Data Factory, a wide variety of these PaaS services. Neuro Initiative, a similar, very exciting customer, they're working hard to find a cure for neurological diseases and disorders like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Now, these disorders affect millions and millions of people worldwide, but a cure draws closer thanks to their ability to be able to use neuron-based simulations using Azure GPUs. And so with that, they think they can reduce the time it takes to test some of their treatments in half, which is fantastic. And then, of course, Siemens Healthineers, offering this one goal, to help millions of patients benefit from better care. They're leading digitalization of healthcare with its digital ecosystem project. It's going to help health providers and solution developers get the care that the end customer needs much better and much faster. And they're doing that using the Azure Kubernetes service to deliver very efficient, very agile, and very fast updates and services to their end customers. And as you look at this range of customers and this range of offerings, it's really exciting to see just the different ways that you can come into the cloud. There's really no right way to use Azure. And the services that we offer allow you to build along the continuum anywhere you want. So whether you want to come in and just rehost, and you're doing a redeploy, and you're keeping your app as is, you're just spinning up those VMs and running, you're going to use those VMs, and you're going to get some benefits. Or maybe you want to alter them, put them into some containers. And then you can use our container-based service to get very fast and agile deployments. Maybe you're re-architecting them, bringing them into PaaS services, or entirely rebuilding them and using some of the cloud-native capabilities like serverless and microservices. Regardless of how you're doing it, you're finding that their solutions are going to be there on Azure and going to help you get to that end result. And that's really what's going to be exciting and really the theme of what I'm going to talk about today. Azure Infrastructure to meet your needs, no matter where you're coming in and no matter what you're trying to do. Infrastructure that can meet any workload and every workload. Hybrid by design, so that we bring the cloud to you. Built-in security and management, and of course, across the whole thing, cost effectiveness. Now let's actually drill down into each of these categories. So first of all, infrastructure for every workload. So as Julia mentioned this morning, 55 regions worldwide, more than Google and AWS combined. This is fantastic. What's also great about this map is that instead of counting sheep at night, if you want to use this slide, you can count the Azure dots. It'll help you go to sleep at night. But why is 54 so valuable? Why does it even matter that there are so many dots on this map? One, offering proximity to your customers, helping you meet compliance needs, but then also offering more availability options, more ability to fail over when things may happen in a given region. And this is something that we're very excited about, something that we continue to innovate on, which is the wide range of availability options we have in Azure. Comprehensive, more than any other cloud, the only single instance SLA in the industry with 99.9% availability. Also, with those 54 regions, the ability to do easy disaster recovery with built-in services so that you can fail over between regions when something goes wrong. And then availability zones, what we launched last year and continue to expand upon. Now available in US, Europe, and Asia, we plan to add many more locations so you can have local availability in addition to cross-country or cross-region-based availability. Now, in addition to availability, offering you the ability to compute in any way you want is something that we also think is very special on Azure. With the most comprehensive set of VM types and capabilities, whether it be entry-level, burstable, or whether it be storage optimized, even compute intensive, this wide variety of compute sizes will help you get the job done. We even have a set of purpose-built bare metal offerings like SAP, Cray, and NetApp that are specifically geared towards those workloads to meet your needs there. And when you look at this, you look at this broad range, this unbelievable range of sizes to meet your needs, whether it's one vCPU up to 960 physical CPUs. Memory goes from 1 gig to 24 terabytes of memory. Disk storage goes from 4 gigs to 64 terabytes, and now up to 160,000 IOPS. And networking, 30 Gbps on the Ethernet, and 100 Gbps InfiniBand. And so what's interesting about this, the top number, we are the largest. The second, we're the largest. The third, we're the fastest. And the fourth, we're the fastest. A little bit of a theme there. Each one of these, we offer best in class. Now, let me actually give you a few examples of some of the new ones we're launching. And now I warn you, I am about to geek out here on some of these sizes, so bear with me on this. First, our latest deep learning size, the NDV2. This offers 8 NVIDIA Tesla V100 NVLink interconnected GPUs. It's primarily focused on all of those 8 working together to give you incredibly fast deep learning, offering things like cancer therapy, medical research, like you heard from Neuro Initiative this morning, to virtual assistants and being able to predict the weather. Very exciting to offer this amazing amount of power in a single box. The NVV2, which is more focused on visualization, perhaps like the Windows Virtual Desktop that you saw this morning, the NV series supports that powerful remote visualization workload, so you can do things as if it were local, even when it's running in the cloud. It's based on the Tesla M60 GPU and 448 gigabytes of RAM. Then a couple of H series, and these are really geared towards high-performance computing. This first one here, the HB, is really focused on a huge amount of memory bandwidth. So it offers 240 gigabytes of system memory and market-leading memory bandwidth with 60 AMD EPYC cores. So this is the first HPC size in the market focused on AMD EPYC as the chips provider. That's 33% faster than anything we've got right now. And then, of course, the HC series offering you 44 Intel Skylake cores and 3.7 gigahertz. Now, that's not to be confused with 1.21 gigawatts, which goes with the shirt. Anyone? No? I got like 2 claps. Thank you. It's awesome. All right, that's the end of the jokes. I'm cutting the rest of the jokes. All right, both HB and HC VMs are backed by Azure's first ever 100 Gbps, InfiniBand interconnect. So these machines are not only incredibly fast on their own, talking to each other, 100 Gbps InfiniBand, VM to VM. The type of things that you can do and you will do is really mind-blowing. Now, taking it beyond just the VMs and going out to a little bit of the storage-based services, our storage services are just as impressive. Truly scalable and reliable set of services, offering now we are seeing up to 200 trillion objects in our storage environment and 160 trillion transactions per month. This is massive, massive scale, and you can see the set of services that we have whether it be disks, whether it be files, hybrid storage, disk storage, transport, all of these offering the needs that you're looking for. With Azure being one of the latest additions, offering you high-performance file caching for those high-volume compute workloads that I was just walking through. Now, zooming in a little bit to disk, because this is a particularly exciting one. First, we have gone to GA with standard SSDs. So standard SSDs are a low-cost storage option, but giving you consistent latency. So it's a better latency than you'd see from a standard HDD, but offering you a lower price point so you can get the job done without paying as much. And then the latest addition here that you heard from Scott this morning, Ultra SSDs. These are incredibly exciting. These are larger sizes per disk, more IOPS per disk, more bandwidth, and all at amazingly fast latency. And in fact, to prove this to you, I'm going to invite Ong on stage to demonstrate Ultra SSDs. Come on up, Ong.
Hey, Corey.
Hey, welcome, Ong.
Excited to be here to demo Ultra SSD with you.
I am really excited too, mostly because it's called Ultra, which means it must be good.
It's definitely better. To set some context, applications like SAP HANA, NoSQL applications like MongoDB and Cassandra still requires very low latency and very high IOPS.
Lots of IOPS. Mm-hmm.
With Ultra SSD, we can achieve extremely low consistent latency and high IOPS on a single Ultra SSD disk. So let me show that to you.
Yeah, let's see this.
Right. To demonstrate a customer environment, I use an existing E64 SV3 VM with a single Ultra SSD attached to it.
One disk.
And let me log onto the machine. And I am using IO meter to generate workload and capture performance.
IO meter, yeah. The 90s called. They want their UX back.
Well, it's simple. I had to make it simple for this CVP.
I see. It's my fault. All right.
So let me select the right workload and run the IO meter. And I want you to pay attention to first and the third bar. I'll be showing you IOPS. And as you can see, Ultra SSD is achieving 80,000 IOPS. And I'll be also showing you latency number as well. So let me hide that. And I'll be showing you latency. And then you can see that Ultra SSD is achieving sub-millisecond very low latency while pushing at 80,000 IOPS. Isn't it exciting?
That is exciting. So 80,000 IOPS, how does that compare to the other guys?
This is definitely way better than any of our competitors currently offer on a single disk.
Wow, so 80,000, but wait, I think we could do more. Who wants to see more than 80,000? Yes.
All right. I know you're going to ask this question, so I came in well prepared.
It's because it's scripted.
Yes. Well scripted. We practice it many times.
That's right.
And to show you, to push the limits of Ultra SSD, we created a new VM type, which we will be releasing very soon. So I'm logging onto this new VM type. And I'm using the same IO meter tool. And let me select the right workload to generate additional workload. And I am running the IO meter. And let me launch this. 160,000 IOPS on a single Ultra SSD.
Woo! And wait. That is a single disk, so there's no more striping.
No more striping, no more caching. Those are 160,000 IOPS on a single SSD and all durable writes.
That's awesome.
So this is double the performance that our competitors currently offer. And
on a single disk? Yeah.
All right, great. So let me summarize. Ultra SSD is the most performant disk available in the market. And we can achieve all the awesome results that I can show it to you with a single 500 GB Ultra SSD disk. And the maximum Ultra SSD disk size is 64 terabyte. And we will also offer single VM SLA for VMs running all Ultra SSD disks at GA. Wow. You can test drive Ultra SSD today We have a session tomorrow on Ultra SSD at 4 p.m. I hope to see all of you there, including you.
I will be there, yes.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ong. Absolutely. That is just fantastic. And if you love infrastructure, you love that, I think. The I/O meter is really fantastic. Okay, so 54 regions globally are powered by a huge amount of network connectivity. So much we couldn't put it all on one map without panning. And so here you see 100,000 miles of fiber to connect those 54 regions globally. And that's 130, more than 130 edge sites to make sure that experience is great. This is really such a key important to making sure this infrastructure is global and meets your needs. But what's really exciting is that with today's announcements, this is no longer just ours. We're actually opening this up to make sure you can take advantage of it too. So with ExpressRoute Global Reach, you can now connect your ExpressRoute circuits together in multiple regions and go along our backbone. So you can now run along that 100,000 miles of fiber by just connecting your two endpoints into the cloud. It's fantastic. Now, a couple other crazy announcements or great announcements here for networking. Azure Virtual WAN is now GA, offering you that simple and unified global connectivity to those branch office infrastructures. Azure Front Door Service takes advantage of all those edge sites that I just talked about, giving you a secure entry point to be able to run a fast delivery of your global web applications. And then one particularly exciting one, Azure ExpressRoute Direct, offering the first in the public cloud 100 Gbps connectivity to the cloud straight into your backend. And so this ability to take that ExpressRoute connection, go all the way up to 100 Gbps, allows you to send so much more data to be processed and so much more connectivity to work in the public cloud. Now I'm excited, actually, to have someone who's been using this. I'm excited to welcome Dwight Rahm up on stage, the Vice President and Chief Technology Officer of Johns Hopkins Health System and Johns Hopkins University, to talk a little bit about what they're doing. Come on up, Dwight.
Thanks, Corey. Well, thank you, Corey. And I'm delighted to be here this afternoon. So to tell you a little bit about our story at Johns Hopkins. So I imagine that many of you know who Johns Hopkins is, but for those of you who don't, we're a university and health system located in Baltimore, Maryland. And we have a really rich history of innovation. We've led to world-breaking discoveries in domains and disciplines as diverse as medicine and astronomy. We're also recognized as one of the world's leading hospitals. So many people who are at their wits' end come to Hopkins for tertiary care. Like many top research institutions, we have a considerable amount of infrastructure investment on premise, but this is now all starting to change. And we're using Microsoft Azure to drive a massive digital transformation in how we deliver technology. With over 2.5 petabytes of storage, tens of thousands of cores, and hundreds of nodes, we're using Azure to really just radically change how we're doing everything. This is not a science experiment for us. We're relying on Azure for very critical daily operations as well as disaster recovery services. Fundamental to all of this is having a really direct and fast connection to Azure. So we now have a 100 gig ExpressRoute direct connection. Yes, this is amazingly fast, but even more important than that, it's changed the way we think about technology and how we deploy. Technology staff no longer consider cloud as something special or different. It's really a critical part of our technology portfolio. ExpressRoute allows us to extend our existing networks and our existing security segments and places Azure on equal footing with all of our on-premise resources. We now have the freedom to move our workloads to optimize for a particular need. We can move it to Azure for specialized compute that's only available there, or we can take advantage of latent resources that we have in a data center that's used for disaster recovery. And that's just for legacy workloads. One of the most groundbreaking things that we're doing with Azure is we're developing a new precision medicine platform that we call InHealth. Now, you may have heard of precision medicine, but let me take a second and explain what it is. Modern healthcare is swimming in data. A lot of that data is siloed. So whether it's genomics or imaging or physiological monitoring, that data is not really well connected. And to really improve the care of the patient, we need to map that data and connect it into a picture and show us what that patient's true health state is. With InHealth, we're creating predictive analytics and algorithms that will personalize and tailor the treatment and actually improve the care of that patient. And we're systematically working through a whole number of diseases. As we develop that InHealth platform, we're using Azure's programmable infrastructure, whether it's network, storage, or compute, and we're dynamically allocating resources on demand. We're also moving up the stack. We're taking advantage of platform services like Azure SQL and Azure Data Lake services, and more recently, AKS. So it's just like on-premise, only a little bit better. As we look to the future, I'm really excited about how data science and the cloud are changing Johns Hopkins. We're looking to leverage even more from Azure, including high-performance computing capabilities, more GPUs, more platform services. Medicine is in the early days of a new era where data science, measurement, and the power of the cloud are changing how we deliver medicine. And with Azure's help, we're enabling Johns Hopkins to transform its technology and change the world again. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dwight. That's fantastic. Now, this next section I was told was business casual, so you can see I put on my jacket. When it comes to running SAP HANA for mission-critical SAP workloads, Azure has the most scalable platform of any cloud provider. Single node scale, as you know, can go up to 24 terabytes. And we have plans to launch up to 12 terabytes on VMs. But as Scott talked about this morning, we also have the most certifications in the public cloud, allowing you to take advantage of a wide variety of different ways to deploy SAP HANA on Azure. And you can even take advantage of Azure services like ML and Power BI to drive insights from your business data and really optimize your business processes using this newfound intelligence. No other cloud provider offers this comprehensive set of integrated services and capabilities. And customers are really talking about it. They're really excited. We have customers in over 40 countries deploying mission-critical SAP solutions on Azure. Daimler runs its global procurement system for 400,000 suppliers with S/4HANA on Azure. Accenture runs their mission-critical financial reporting with SAP BW on HANA on Azure. Rio Tinto runs a massive 8-terabyte SAP ERP system with more than 1,000 VMs on Azure. And of course, at Microsoft, we run our mission-critical SAP ERP system on Azure as well. Now, almost all of these implementations are run using partners, and there's a wide variety of partners. But I'm really excited to actually offer on stage what I consider to be the best partner to Microsoft when it comes to SAP, and that's Arlen Schenkman, the EVP of Global Business Development from SAP. Welcome, Arlen.
Great to see you.
Yeah, it's good to have you. Thanks, Arlen. Welcome to Microsoft Ignite.
Thanks for having me. The jacket looks great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. They didn't seem to think so. I don't know.
I took my tie off.
So, Arlen, can you tell us a little bit about some of the great announcements that we made last November?
Sure. So it's really great to be here to share a few key takeaways with everybody. Microsoft and SAP have a very long history of partnering together, both as customers and partners. And recently, we expanded our partnership, making the SAP Cloud Platform available on Azure and migrating more than a dozen SAP business-critical applications to Azure. In addition, Microsoft runs S/4HANA on Azure.
Indeed.
And this really speaks to the level of trust we have, which is that SAP runs Microsoft and Microsoft runs SAP.
It's fantastic, and it's been really a great partnership all the way around. One of the things for the guy who's in charge of the SAP development on Azure, the Azure side of that development, I know that we actually do a lot of work together. Right? There's a lot of stuff that we work on. Could you walk through some of the examples of some of the things that we've done together?
Sure. So we've certified Azure for running SAP HANA workloads, and in fact, we have a scale today that's certified of 20 terabytes on a single machine, giving people plenty of room to grow. We've brought SAP's private managed cloud, the HANA Enterprise Cloud, onto Azure. The SAP developers can now build custom applications on top of the SAP Cloud Platform on Azure. So together, Microsoft and SAP are co-innovating and finding ways to help our customers run their best.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of co-innovation, I'm led to believe that there is an announcement that we'd actually like to make today.
We absolutely do. We're really excited to announce that we plan to soon offer SAP's Data Custodian on Azure.
Awesome.
And what this does is it's a great combination between SAP's strong expertise in governance, risk, and compliance, incorporating Microsoft Azure's security, compliance, and extensive capabilities in a public cloud environment. With the SAP Data Custodian on Azure, we intend to bring information from Azure and SAP solutions into a single place so customers can get end-to-end visibility of their data.
It's very exciting. I think the Data Custodian is a really, really fantastic product, and I'm looking forward to it. So thank you so much, Arlen, for joining me, and I'm really looking forward to our continued joint innovation. I think we've got a lot of work still to come, and a lot of announcements hopefully to make in the future. But in the meantime, we'll continue working together to make sure all of you can run your mission-critical business processes with S/4HANA on Azure.
Great, we appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Jack, it looks great. Keep it on.
Thank you. Awesome. Now, moving on from the partnership with SAP, another area that we've really expanded our partnership and our focus has been in the OSS community and the Linux community. It's an area that it actually goes way back many, many years to some of the earlier projects on Azure. But of course, in 2014 was sort of the big Microsoft loves Azure sign that Satya put up. And since then, we've seen a huge amount of growth and energy around our OSS focus. And it's just been such an invigorating and inspiring opportunity at Microsoft to be able to be working so closely as part of many of these communities. And that's including things like open sourcing our own products, like .NET or Visual Studio Code. But it also includes releasing some of our products so that they run fantastic on top of Linux, including things like SQL, Visual Studio, or even Azure Sphere, which does run there too. And so all of these coming together has been really, really awesome. Now, being able to just run and support open source is kind of just the beginning. One of the most important things with open source is also making sure the tools you want to run work great. So that means any tools across any parts of the ecosystem, we've got to go make sure are going to run fantastic on Azure, whether it be DevOps, whether it be data, whether it be infrastructure. And this is an area that we focus a lot to make sure these tools and capabilities work great. And one of the particular areas of focus for us, of course, is in containers. Now, containers have become a really, really exciting opportunity for infrastructure. They're changing the way we think about infrastructure. They're changing the way we approach applications deployed on infrastructure. And that's because of four big reasons. One, they're giving a lot of agility. The ability to quickly start and stop, almost instantaneously, lets you try things quickly and kill things quickly. They're portable, they're open source, and they run anywhere. They give you great density, which means you actually can save your cost. You can run more in the same way you used to run things. And they have rapid scale. That ability to handle incoming traffic and quickly shift that traffic is a huge benefit for containers. Now, we have really invested a lot in our container technologies in Azure. We've spent a lot of time making sure these run great across all of our platform services. We've even invented new technologies to run containers. So Azure Container Instances, the first of its kind in the public cloud, offering serverless containers, giving you instantaneous deployment of containers running. Azure Kubernetes Service offering you a fully managed Kubernetes environment. Azure Service Fabric giving you container-based deployment, focusing on .NET-based applications, being able to run those in containers and supporting those microservices on top of Service Fabric. And then Azure App Service, a fantastic PaaS offering, giving you website-based deployments, now also supporting containers as well. But let me zoom in a little bit to Kubernetes, because this one's getting a lot of energy and attention, and for good reason. It is a fantastic container platform for all of us to use. It is portable. All the cloud providers now have a Kubernetes platform, which means you can run anywhere. That portability is a fantastic trait of that open source solution. But it's also extensible. You can add solutions to it, you can deploy additional things, and it's got self-healing. So things go wrong, it'll fix itself. Now, in Azure, we've put a lot of focus and energy into making the Azure Kubernetes Service, or AKS, a fantastic offering for you to run your Kubernetes solution. One, we simplify that cluster maintenance and give you automated upgrades and scaling. We also allow you to define some of the most complex applications using simple tools that you love, whether it be Visual Studio, like you saw from Donovan this morning, or things like Helm and Docker. You can use a full CI/CD pipeline to go automate your entire system. And also, with an announcement that we'll be showing here in just a moment, with Azure Container Instances, you can elastically burst Kubernetes in sub-second. This is serverless Kubernetes offered on top of those Azure Container Instances that I talked about. And I'm so excited by this that we're actually going to show it to you. We're going to show it to you live, and I'm going to have Lockie Evanson come on up and show you this demo live. Come on up, Lockie. Thank you.
Thanks, Corey. How you doing? How you
Very
doing?
good.
Thanks for keeping your jacket on. Thanks for I appreciate it. You might need to take it off. We're going to roll up our sleeves here and get to work.
Well,
so
if you say so.
It's great to be here. I'm excited to share how customers are using Azure Kubernetes Service, but more excitedly, I'm announcing a new feature today called Virtual Node. We're opening that up for private preview today, and Virtual Node will make it easy and simple to auto-scale your Kubernetes workloads.
Wait, but I think I just talked about the fact that like Kubernetes is really cool and it does a lot of this stuff automatically. Doesn't it already have autoscale?
You're right, Corey. It already has an autoscaler, but the traditional Kubernetes autoscaler operates by creating new VMs, attaching them to an existing cluster, and only then can you autoscale your workloads.
So really
this
slow.
This operation could take minutes, during which time your application may have already stopped processing workload.
Right.
So by enabling Virtual Node, you can have burst capacity when you need it, quickly and easily.
That's fantastic. So how do you go about enabling this? I mean, it must be complex to go set it up.
Okay, let's go and take a look. Quick reminder that we've just opened this up for private preview.
Okay.
So if you're enabled on the private preview, it's simple. Go to Create Kubernetes Cluster, select from an available region here. We'll go to US West 2, West US, and we will go down to Virtual Nodes here and click Enabled. Once the cluster is provisioned, you will have the virtual node installed and ready to use.
Wow,
it's that
pretty
simple.
Easy. Yeah. That sounds like magic. So can you share with us, Lockie, a little bit more about how this all works?
Absolutely, but rather than just talk about it, do you mind if I show you? Would that be okay?
You can do what you want.
Can we show? Okay. All right. So it just so happens that we have a customer that's using Virtual Node to enable burst capacity during a load event.
Okay.
Right, so let's go over to our friends here at the Contoso online store.
They do everything.
It's a massive day for them.
Okay.
In just a few minutes, they're going to open up an exclusive offer for Ignite attendees. And this offer is going to generate a 1,000-time spike in the load just due to the demand on their website.
I see it says MP3 players. Is the offer going to be a new Zoom?
A new
Zoom.
Yeah, so that we're hoping that will
That's
actually...
the news.
So let's go ahead and take a look at how we
Just
can
kidding.
use Virtual Node to actually meet the demands of this scale event. Right, I'm going to pop over here to our live metric stream and applications insights here. And I have down the bottom here a Cloud Shell open. So let's just go through what we're looking at here. So we have the requests per second currently coming into the application, the duration, so how long it's taking for those requests to be served. And we also have the number of containers that are online serving that. So just two. Okay, so given that the load event hasn't started, I'm going to kick it off here. Right, so start a load event. I'm also going to show you a little behind the scenes here. Using Kube Control, or Kube Cuddle as you like to call it, we're going to use the Kubernetes CLI to actually show in real time the scale event under the covers while we're watching the live metrics as well. So this should create here any moment, and then we should be able to go on. Also, okay, so I'm going to use Kube Cuddle as mentioned, and we're going to get a list of pods. I'll put a watch on that as well, so we can watch it in real time. Don't you love typing in front of people?
It's great.
It's great.
It proves it's really happening.
It proves it's real. Okay, so it just so happens we've already started scaling. In the time that I typoed that, we've already started scaling. So you can see here we've jumped up to 200 requests per second, but also the latency's gone up a little bit too. So we're overloaded. Kubernetes has actually detected this and started running those ACI containers via the virtual node.
Oh, look at that.
So you can see them scaling out here now. Do you want to know how long they take to start?
Yeah, I mean, how long is that going to take? Let's see.
So typically we see between 30 and 40 seconds. We wouldn't wait for okay, so while we're waiting for them to start, I'll actually pop over here and show you just quickly. You can actually see these ACIs. So Virtual Node is backed by Azure Container Instances, and we can take advantage of not only per second billing, but also not have to worry about the operational burden of VMs, right? I just see containers as first-class citizens on the Azure platform, so automatically scaling. Over here on the left, you can see the number that we've already scaled to. So these were the initial running. We've scaled 3 additional. So we should actually see momentarily more load starting to come. So we can actually, and the release, So while this continues to go ahead here, we can see these be attached and actually come up and run. So it's also tied into Azure Monitor for Containers. So here we can see the virtual kubelet, the virtual node actually up here and running, and we can see underneath here the actual real-time statistics about memory and CPU and how they're performing. So it's tied in there. And on this, in the spirit of open source, I'm very proud to say that this feature is built upon an open source project called Virtual Kubelet that we worked on in the community in collaboration with folks like VMware, Hyper.sh, Alibaba, and AWS.
Great, yeah, we don't talk about that last one.
Awkward. Finally, in the spirit of open source as well, I wanted to mock up just how you could bring your own tools to the platform. So here I have a Grafana dashboard that's showing the same thing as the Live Metrics dashboard. So if you want to use virtual nodes with your own tooling, that's A-OK. You can bring that to Azure and build the same experience. So it's completely powerful and easy, and you can see this scaling in real time.
And it looks like you're up to now 15 running, yeah?
We're up to 21.
servers.
That's
so
a little behind what we're seeing in Azure Monitor here. So we see that we're up to 21, and this will continue until the load's met. So you can see, using Virtual Node, how it's quick and easy to scale, auto-scale out onto
And this is just that single click at the beginning, and now all this is taken care of for you.
Single click.
Automatically scaling sub-second, and you've got all this traffic up and running.
It's all there, and it's
That's
that
awesome.
simple.
Sub-minute, I'm sorry, sub-second.
Sub-minute, yeah, sub-minute. Yeah, fantastic.
Right,
so
thank you so much,
Yeah,
Lockheed.
absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome. That's fantastic. It really is changing the way we think about scale and the way we think about responsiveness to the needs of your customers. By being able to put these pieces together, this Azure Container Instance, and bringing that together with the Azure Kubernetes Service, offering that virtual node support that you just saw. Now moving on to the infrastructure aspect into a hybrid focus. Hybrid is really something special at Microsoft. Microsoft offers the only truly consistent hybrid experience. This is consistency across your entire ecosystem, whether it be development and management with Azure Stack, whether it be DevOps using a consistent CI and CD tooling for your Azure DevOps server experience. It's also seamlessly distributing data, not just SQL Server, but also supporting MySQL, Postgres, and NoSQL. And of course, offering one identity story, no matter where you are, and a single security and management story across that entire hybrid infrastructure. One really awesome announcement that you heard this morning that ties together so many of our hybrid stories was Windows Server 2019. And this is being released generally available in the coming weeks with that focus on hybrid, security, application, and hyper-converged infrastructure. Now, some of the really cool things that comes with Windows Server 2019. One, that increased focus on that hybrid data center with deep connection and support for things like Azure Backup and site recovery, giving you DR support right into the cloud. Improved security, expanding those shielded VMs that we all love to support Linux as well. Application platform improvements. This will include optimized container images and also Linux container support. So this will be the only OS that supports both Windows and Linux containers on the same OS. And of course, the Azure Network Adapter, allowing you to connect into public Azure via the network without having to wire your entire infrastructure, just with a few small clicks. This is truly an OS built for the cloud age. And now to show you this, and to show you the power integrated into the Windows Admin Center, I would like to invite Erin Chappell up on stage to demo this. Come on up, Erin.
Thank you, Corey. It's a pleasure to be here. You have consistently told us that while you're deploying new apps and services in the cloud, you also want to integrate cloud with your on-premises investments. Today, I'm here to show you how, with Windows Server 2019 and Windows Admin Center. Windows Admin Center is the reimagined, browser-based user experience for Windows Server. So here is a list of servers I'm managing through the Admin Center. Some of them are running in Seattle, others in Azure, and some here at Ignite. I've selected one of the servers in the left-hand, and in the left-hand tools pane, I have easy access to common management tools. In the overview page, I have a few server resources like CPU, memory, and networking. Prior to the Admin Center, this information would have been in multiple tools, windows, and tabs. Now, we want to make it easy, your life easy with Admin Center. So, for example, if I want to review server security events, I clicked on Events, then clicked on Security to scope the events, and you can see that there are over 140,000 events. While this could be cause for concern, I can easily filter out the informational and verbose alerts. And I click Apply, and I see I have 0 critical errors. Nothing to worry about. Now, many of you have shared that you like the simplicity of using a graphical tool, and you would like to learn from and reuse the automation powering the tool. So if I click on the PowerShell icon, I can see the automation behind the tool. I just copy and paste that into my own automation into either on-premises or in the Azure Cloud Shell. Managing a server typically extends beyond the OS to include the hardware and other software. This is why we designed the Admin Center to be extensible. Go to the Admin Center settings, click on Extensions, and you can see a variety of extensions available from our partners such as DataOn and Fujitsu, with dozens more on the way. And the Admin Center SDK is generally available today, so you can build your own experiences into Admin Center. You have told us that hybrid is important to you and important to your organization, and that is why a core principle of the Admin Center is to make it easier to integrate with Azure. Many of our customers use ExpressRoute, but there are scenarios at the edge where a server requires secure connectivity to access Azure resources. Wouldn't it be great to be able to quickly add this secure network connection? Today, we're introducing point-to-site VPN in Admin Center with Azure Network Adapter. Here I have an edge server that needs access to server resources. If I ping my Azure resources from PowerShell, you'll see the request will time out. There's no response. Well, no problem. From within network, I can add a network adapter. I just, when it comes up, will select the Ethernet. And then I'll choose to click the Add Network, Azure Network Adapter. Now we have options to choose the subscription, the location, and the network, and simply create. I've already created an Azure Network Adapter, so let's select it and click Connect. If I go back to PowerShell once this is done, and then I ping the Azure resource, there's our secure connection. It was as easy as that. Azure Network Adapter is about easing access to Azure. But what about easing backup? In the data center, many customers are still using tape. And in remote and branch offices, backup coverage can be spotty. We want to help you better protect your on-premises investments with Azure Backup and take advantage of the virtually unlimited storage in the cloud. Now, Azure Backup isn't new, but we now offer integration directly from the Admin Center. Here you have an overview of the system's backup. You can see the latest backup status, next scheduled backup, recovery point, jobs, the number of recovery points I have. You can even initiate backups from right here. If you want to view all of your backups in Azure, Well, this link takes you directly to the Azure Recovery Services Vault and the backup dashboard. Now, while backups are great for point-in-time recovery, what about business continuity and disaster recovery? Admin Center makes it easy to protect your VMs, again, taking advantage of the virtually unlimited storage in the cloud with Azure Site Recovery. Here, I have an HR server. To protect it, I highlight the VM, go to More, and then click on Protect VM. That's it. One-click business continuity. Right below is a Windows Server 2008 R2 line of business app, which is already replicating. Click on the Protect link, and it takes me to Azure, where I can see the replication status. I'm protecting my on-prem with the cloud. If I decide sometime in the future to move this Windows Server 2008 VM to Azure to take advantage of the free 3 years of extended security in Azure, it's one click. Select the VM in Azure, and then click on Plan Failover, and voila. So with hybrid connectivity and solutions like Azure Backup and Azure Replication, Windows Admin Center and Windows Server 2009 make it easy for you to go hybrid. I've just barely scratched the surface here. I hope to see you at my foundation session this afternoon at 4 p.m. And with that, thank you and enjoy the show. Thanks, Corey.
That's awesome. Thank you, Erin. That is so, so cool. And she talked a little bit there at the end about something that's also very exciting, the ease of being able to migrate those 2008 R2 servers. But she also mentioned this little fact, which is extended security updates when running on Azure. So with the end of support for 2008 and R2 versions coming very, very soon, now is the time to start planning for migrating this into Azure. And we are announcing today that only in Azure, when you migrate, you will get 3 years of free extended security updates for Windows and SQL Server 2008 and R2 when you migrate those to Azure. So super, super powerful. And the impact of that is a pretty big cost impact. So already with Azure Hybrid Benefit, spinning up your Windows servers in Azure can save you up to 55%. This is about 3 times more expensive when you do it on top of AWS. Now, add the savings of both reserved instances and the extended security updates that I just walked through for 2008 and 2008 R2, and now AWS is 5 times more expensive than running those same Windows servers in Azure. So it's just a huge, huge savings opportunity for you to consider running these into Azure, and of course, with the tooling you just saw, incredibly easy to move them. All right, let me change gears now and focus a little bit more on the edge. Hybrid cloud has evolved. It's evolved from when we started working on it. It is much more than just that cloud connectivity. It is a lot closer. It's a lot personal. It is a lot more integrated. And now, with our edge, you can actually reach out and touch the cloud, awkwardly, like I am. It is now units of compute available at even the world's most remote destinations, working in concert with the public cloud, even running things on stage in a keynote. The intelligent edge is the continually expanding set of connected systems and devices, gathering and analyzing information as close to the physical world as where that data resides. It allows real-time insights and immersive experiences that are deeply aware of its surroundings. These smart sensors and connected devices are breathing new life into industrial solutions. In fact, today, we announced the broad availability of the first Azure Sphere Dev Kit. And in fact, I have it here up on stage just to show you what it looks like. And these kits, along with the broader range of our IoT devices, like this camera or this drone, all run the same IoT platform. So you can take the things you're building in Azure and you can run across this same consistent platform, from small chip to flying drone, the exact same solution. Now, we've also announced a very exciting new product called the Azure Data Box Edge, which is just here and heavy. This is an appliance that allows you to pre-process data before it moves into Azure. It's using Project Brainwave and actually has advanced FPGAs built right in So it allows you to do learning right where the data is. So you can do that inferencing of the data before it moves into the cloud. And this size and portability allows, again, stronger people could move it more than me, allows you to take this as close as possible to your end users, to where your data is, as you need it to be. Now, the last part of this continuum, of course, is Azure Stack, which I have one over here. Not going to try and lift this one. Azure Stack brings you more of the capabilities of Azure right into your edge location. Now, we've been shipping Azure Stacks for about a year now, and we're seeing an amazing set of innovation and solutions being built by customers on top of it. It really is an extension of Azure, and you can run it hybrid or disconnected. I do recommend you plug it in, though, because I don't think this is working here unplugged. So plug it in, but then you can be disconnected from the internet. A couple things that we're announcing today as well to bring Azure Stack even closer to that Azure experience and environment. First, in the coming weeks, Kubernetes will be public preview to be able to run on top of Azure Stack, excuse me. We are expanding the capacity out to 16 nodes. We also will be bringing event hubs to Azure Stack by the end of the year, allowing you to do that event streaming in the exact same way you're doing in the public cloud. And we'll be bringing blockchain support, so you can have a consistent experience around your blockchain ledger manipulation, whether it be Azure or in Azure Stack. And that consistency really is the key, whether you're running across the edge platform or whether you're running the full Azure platform. Giving you that consistency is the key experience that our edge offers. Now moving to the built-in security and management, because now that you've done all this great migration, now that you've done all this great experience with Windows Server 2019, and you've got edge devices and Azure Stack, now you've got to consider how to make sure you're locking it down, but still keeping agile. And with Azure, we offer unmatched security. We're investing more than $1 billion a year and employing more than 3,500 security experts focused on protecting your information. This starts with the physical component. It starts with the physical infrastructure, biometric security, locking down our data centers, protecting against DDoS attacks. But it also extends out to tools that we make available to you, offering you protection and intelligence upon the things running in your environment. And this is backed with trillions of signals that we get every day from 1.2 billion devices that we scan and 750 million user account authentications. With that data, this is unprecedented. We are able to give you the intelligence you need, whether you're giant or small. We offer that level of intelligence back, so you can do threat protection quickly and easily for your environments. Now, this security has been so exciting, this security has been so powerful for so many customers, that we actually have many customers who come back to us and are very excited about the offerings. These are just a few quotes of some of the customers: Temenos, Adobe, Smithyfield, and of course Merrill, offering exciting quotes about their experiences with our security system. And this security extends beyond just those tools and those signals. It also is about a set of compliances. We have the most comprehensive set of compliance protections, up 85, more than anyone in the industry. Our regulated industries, we also focus on making sure that across 40 different industries, we offer focused compliance, whether it be government, finance, education, manufacturing, and of course, global engagement. We're very focused on offering a global leadership in promoting policies for a trusted, responsible, and inclusive cloud. Now, some of the new security announcements that I want to make today are really pretty cool. So the first one, going into preview, confidential computing. This is a new size that we are now offering in preview that, using secure enclaves, allows you to protect your data even while it's running in the CPU. And this is protecting your data from malicious users. It's protecting your data even from us while running in that CPU. We are the first cloud provider to give this service, and we also are offering an open development SDK to make it incredibly easy for you to build against it. We're also offering the GA of Azure Firewall, a service we've had in preview for some time, to be able to protect your network. And of course, improvements in our security center, including integration of the new secure score right into that environment and guidance on how to make your score increase and improvements you can put in your environment. Now, on top of security, one of the things that we think a lot about is not just securing your environment, but how do you make sure that you give the right amount of compliance and control to the people in your organization. Historically, compliance has always been a trade-off between speed versus compliance. Do you lock things down, or do you give people the ability to move quickly? And that's kind of an unfair trade-off. And I'm excited with the Azure capabilities that you don't have to make that trade-off anymore. With Azure policies, you can put in guardrails while still giving developers the freedom to do what they want. With management groups, you can quickly apply those rules and regulations across your entire environment without worrying about missing a step. And Azure Graph allows you to visually see who has access to what, so you can make sure you can fix problems quickly. And a new addition that I'm incredibly excited to talk about today is Blueprints. We are announcing Azure Blueprints today, which allow you to easily plan new subscriptions in a compliant and trusted way. Planning new subscriptions in Azure can take weeks, sometimes even months. And Blueprints allow you to define the resources, the policies, even the roles for all of the individual users you need, and then flip it onto a subscription instantaneously. It will configure and create everything for you. So with a single click, you're ready to go. Blazing speed without sacrificing governance and control. And to show you what that looks like, I've got Liz Kim coming up to show you governance blueprints. Come on up, Liz.
Thanks, Corey. Today, we need to meet our customer needs faster than before. Previously, these two needs, speed and control, were two opposing forces. You could have speed by moving to the cloud, but if you wanted control, you needed manual approval processes that slow things down. For this demo, I'm a cloud engineer for a multinational company, Contoso Hotels Group, trying to create consistent cloud environment for my teams. With Azure Policy, I get control at scale without losing the agility. One of the ways I'm using Policy is to tag my resources to organize them for cost management. You can see over here, I'm tagging my resource groups so that I can enforce tags at that level, and I'm automatically inheriting those tags down to my resources. I can see the overall compliance state across hundreds of application teams and drill down to individual policy to see additional details as well. Besides enforcement and compliance, I'm very excited to showcase you something I've been working on for the past year, our new remediation capability. Let's examine this requirement. I need to ensure that all of my Windows VMs have the monitoring agents installed. So recently, I've assigned this policy that will automatically deploy the agent onto any new virtual machines that get created. Now, I have quite a few pre-existing resources on this environment. And for these, I can quickly create a new remediation task to bring all of these resources to compliance in bulk. This way, I'll be 100% compliant and remain that way. Azure Policy is critical in setting guardrails on your environment, but where it gets really cool is when you bring policies, resources, and user access together into something we call Azure Blueprint. With Blueprint, you get speed and control as you can quickly spin up environments in multiple subscriptions in just a few clicks. And these resources are locked down so that even subscription owners cannot touch them. Let's take a look at the blueprint that I'm using for my Contoso environment. I'm assigning some policies to restrict the location and enforce tags. I'm also creating infrastructure resources like Log Analytics Workspace, separate from security resources like Key Vault. I'm also setting up the right permissions for the right roles, so that this way the infrastructure team doesn't have to request access to the logs, but their access is still restricted to the resource group, so that they can't touch other resources. Now that our blueprint is ready, let's assign this blueprint. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to select the subscriptions that I would like to have this set up in. I'm going to enable the locks and assign it. That's it. Just those few simple steps was all it took for me to go from a brand new subscription to a fully managed environment. Now, deploying these resources will take a few minutes. And so prior to this demo, I've assigned the blueprint in the exactly same way. And you can see here that the right team has access to this subscription, the right resource groups have been created, the right infrastructure resources are in place, and last but not the least, the policies are assigned so that I can get control and compliance. So get speed and control with Azure governance today. There's so much more that I want to share with you that I have not yet covered. So please join us on our Tuesday and Thursday sessions. Thank you.
Liz. Thanks a lot. Yeah, everyone seems to say they've got so much more to show you, and I don't let them. It's like, you're done. That was awesome, though. Blueprints are amazing. I'm super excited to see all of you use them. I do think they will really dramatically improve the experience that we've got. OK, so last section I want to talk about. Now, you've seen all the power. You've seen all the options to run the infrastructure. You've seen how to do it in a hybrid way. And you've seen how to secure and lock down your system. The last thing I want to talk a little bit about is how to actually do the migration. Now, we've seen a lot of reasons why people are doing migrations, a lot of triggers here that are leading this. Whether it be data center contracts or acquisitions, maybe it's hardware refreshes, compliance, software end of support. Any of these may be the reason why you want to go do a migration or plan a move to the cloud. Now I would like to introduce actually a company who the primary driver was modernization. They wanted to change the way their business worked, and it's been a huge success story. And so let me welcome up Gary Dowdy, the CTO of J.B. Hunt, to talk a little bit about their migration to the cloud. Come on up, Gary.
Hey, thanks. If you're familiar with J.B. Hunt, you've probably seen our trucks going down the interstate. And yes, that's true. We're one of the largest truckload carriers in North America. But we actually earn more of our revenue from moving freight on the railroad, providing dedicated fleets to other companies, and even moving final mile delivery of appliances and other services to consumers. J.B. Hunt has been in business for 5 decades, but it's the next 5 years that I think will see the most change. We operate in a $1 trillion industry that's undergoing massive transformation. From autonomous electric vehicles to next-day, same-day delivery expectations, to competing with gig economy type companies, all while today we're dealing with severe driver shortage. Success for us requires innovation, and in some cases even disrupting some of our own businesses. And so that's why we created J.B. Hunt 360, a digital freight matching system using machine learning to seamlessly connect shippers and carriers to match the right load to the right carrier at the right time. And in just a short amount of time, this new business, this year, will generate almost $500 million and represents 50% of the market share, according to most analysts. Now, from a tech stack, we didn't start out that way. We started on-prem running our J.B. Hunt services, mostly coupled to legacy systems, legacy databases, but with a distributed architecture built on enterprise services with Java and Jenkins. But we knew we wanted to reach millions of carriers and shippers. And we knew on-prem would not scale to the way we wanted it to go. So we knew we needed to go to the cloud. And we wanted to go on Microsoft Azure. Today, a majority of our services run on Azure in Kubernetes clusters using Azure DevOps and Git. Now, this is more than just an e-commerce offering. J.B. Hunt is building its next generation logistics operating system on Azure with Kube, Azure Data Services, API management, and Azure Machine Learning, and many more. You know, our cloud, it's definitely been a journey, the migration to the cloud, but we have made it much further and much faster with our local Microsoft Office, who's helped marshal resources to increase our insight and advance our strategy. Everything from agile best practices to leveraging new services like dev test labs and even the creation of our data lake. So thanks, Corey, for the opportunity to share our story.
We didn't practice that enough, apparently. Thank you, Gary. That was awesome. Fantastic story, and some really impressive work that they're doing at J.B. Hunt. Now, the migration story comes at many different steps along the way, and we've got tools and services that are going to help you get there. Starting with assessment, being able to understand what your environment looks like, being able to understand all the dependencies that you've got deployed, going through the actual migration act, and then optimizing, trying to reduce your cost once you deploy, make sure you've got the exact right size for the job, and then deploying all that security and management that we talked about, making sure you're running in the securest and most trusted way. And these are two key services, Azure Migrate, which we're actually announcing supports both VMware and Hyper-V to be able to do that assessment on premises and be able to do that dependency story before doing migration. And the Azure Database Migration Service, which is now more than just SQL. It allows you to migrate into the managed PaaS offerings for SQL, MySQL, Postgres, or even MongoDB. And so a huge, huge opportunity for you to not only move into the cloud, but actually reduce your management, reduce your cost by moving to those data platform offerings. Very, very powerful and very exciting. Now, the last aspect of migration, of course, is huge amounts of data, being able to move gigantic data workloads. And I talked a little bit already about the Azure Data Box Edge for being able to do the processing of that data, but then moving it itself. You heard this morning from Scott, the data box, 100 terabytes, is now GA. Very exciting. And we've now launched a new one, the Data Box Heavy. So heavy that they thought I was going to try and lift it on stage. They would not let me have one on stage. So you don't see it here, but it is heavy, trust me. So with that, you can take huge amounts of data and get them up into the cloud across this wide variety of data box services. So now pulling back a little bit, the goal that we have with Azure as I started, offering you the ability to move into the cloud and take advantage of cloud services regardless of how you want to enter, whether it be rehosting and lifting and shifting, or rebuilding and starting fresh. We are going to offer services and support across the whole way. Infrastructure meeting your needs, no matter what the workload may be. Offering you a secure and managed environment once you've deployed, and as you saw with these devices, offering hybrid by design. What this means is that with that hybrid support and that cost-effectiveness platform, we're going to bring the cloud to you. Whether you're going to run in Azure, whether you're going to run on Data Box Edge, whether you're going to run on Azure Stack, or even run on a Zune. No, we don't support Zunes, but everything else we do support. We're going to bring the cloud to you so you can bring your application to the world. Thank you so much, and have an awesome Ignite. See you later.